The episode begins with Luca, who is saying goodbye to Julika and Annika. It is a flashback from an earlier season, which you can recognize, among other things, by the outfits. This scene likely happens right after the episode Migration, in which Luca had decided to leave Paris and had confessed to Ladybug that he knew the identities. The whole situation is being watched by Ladybug and Cat Noir. Cat Noir, with his old banana hairstyle, asks Ladybug if Luca really surely knows both identities, because he just cannot believe it and wants desperately to prevent Luca from leaving Paris. Although Ladybug confirms that Luca really knows the identities, Cat follows him to the airport and runs after him as Adrien. He says maybe Luca is wrong, but Luca hugs him and says that he cannot stay. Otherwise, he will only make it harder for both him and Ladybug to defeat Monarch. He says he will come back soon and boards the plane. After the intro, we are with Marinette, who at night is trapped on Luca's boat. She runs on deck and calls out for Adrien. Then she runs back as Ladybug, where she meets many reporters. These reporters surround her and bombard her with questions about Gabriel, about the battle, and about a possible connection to Monarch. Ladybug flees, while Gabriel's voice is calling out for Marinette. Marinette sits on Luca's bed, and suddenly Luca comes from under the ceiling. Marinette breaks down and confesses everything, but Luca is no longer Luca. Instead, he is Adrien, who is shocked and angry. He breaks up with Marinette and gets akumatized. Marinette wakes up and is completely confused. She calms herself a bit and kisses Adrien's picture. Then, the scene changes and we are with Adrien, who is having breakfast with Nathalie. We learn that he has a meeting today, and because of that, he is nervous and cannot eat a single bite. Marinette comes out of her room, greets and says goodbye to her parents, but mixes up all her words because she is always thinking about Monarch. Again, we are with Adrien in his room. He listens to the plush animal with the voice of his father and says he notices Ladybug is hiding something and he wishes he had been there. He remembers that Plag was there, but Plag only dodges the questions and says everything was confusing. Fair point, because it really was. During the meeting with Theo the sculptor, he suggests building an even bigger statue of Gabriel, 10 meters to be exact, in order to honor his great deeds even more properly. Adrien says that he was not so great after all. After all, Gabriel prevented him and Marinette from being together, but Theo does not believe him and still wants to build this statue. Adrien takes some time to think and leaves the office. Marinette follows him and Adrien explains to her that he refuses to see Gabriel in such a way and to worship him like everyone else does. He knows very well that Gabriel was not a good father, and Marinette knows that too. He asks her if that makes him a bad son. In addition, he blames himself for his father's death, because he could not save him. Marinette says he could not have done anything, but Adrien says she cannot know that, because she was not there after all. Marinette hesitates briefly, but then she wants to tell him something important, right at that very moment, but she gets interrupted by Nathalie. I am absolutely sure that she wanted to tell him that she is Ladybug, or at least something very close to that. But of course, Nathalie knows that this cannot happen. Back home with Adrien, Marinette says goodbye, but then she goes back and talks to Nathalie. She wants to tell Adrien what really happened, but as Nathalie correctly notices, that would cause a lot of problems. Not only would Adrien be able to put two and two together and realize that Nathalie had been his father's ally, but also that Marinette could not know all of that, and therefore she must be Ladybug, the one who explains everything. The two of them had chosen this path and this lie, and now they must follow through with it. And Marinette has to pull herself together. Marinette goes home because now she has guitar lessons with Luca. They are in a video call when suddenly Irupi, Luca's girlfriend from Brazil, appears in the picture and greets Marinette. When she goes swimming, Marinette decides immediately to fly to Brazil to speak with Luca personally. Irupe asks Luca if they should go out for coffee, but he wants to be alone for a while. Irupe, who by the way is wearing a very suspicious necklace, says that she agreed to be his fake girlfriend. But if it hurts him, then maybe Marinette should know the truth. Luca says that he has already tried, and when Irupe asks how it went, we get a new flashback of Luca and Marinette at the Seine. Luca wants to give Marinette back the Miraculous, because he has to return to Brazil to make sure he does not get akumatized. Marinette says that is very unlikely, but Luca insists. He transforms and tells Marinette that he is still in love with her, and that he is afraid that his feelings whenever he sees Marinette with Adrien will turn into jealousy. He apologizes that he is about to lie to Marinette, and he uses his second chance to go back in time. Now he tells Marinette that he met a girl in Brazil, which is of course not true. Marinette is happy for him, but he assures her that he will always be her friend. Back in the present, Luca continues to play his guitar when Cosmobug lands in front of him. Oh, and Adrien tells Nathalie that he does not want the statue, and she informs the mayor. In Brazil, Ladybug takes Luca by the hand and leads him to a hidden place. There, she demands from Luca to use his Miraculous. Of course, he gives it to her. She unites her Miraculous with that of the snake, and the result just looks absolutely insane. What an incredible design this is. Lady Snake or Lady Viper uses the second chance and simply begins to speak openly. She confesses everything to Luca and he is rightfully shocked. He asks her why she did this, and she says that she loves Adrien and does not want to hurt him, that she wants to suffer for him in order to protect Adrien. She asks Luca if he thinks she did the right thing. Of course, he does not know, and then he says that she should please lend him her Miraculous. She does not understand why, and he tells her that he knows things she does not know, and that he needs her Miraculous to set things right again. I am really so curious what Luca knows, and what exactly this was about, what he intended to do. This is just crazy. Lady Viper gets scared because Luca becomes very determined and insists on having her Miraculous without telling her what he wants to do with it. She panics and uses the second chance. Then she transforms back and returns Luca's Miraculous to him. She hugs him and says he should be happy with Irupe. He asks her if that was the only reason she came, and she says yes, but I really wonder if Luca is truly that foolish to believe her, that she flew all the way here, used the Miraculous, activated the power, only to transform back right away and tell him exactly that. Luca is definitely not that stupid, especially since he has already pulled the exact same move himself with transforming and second chance and so on. That is why I think he knows for sure that Ladybug actually wanted to say something else, or that she did say something else. But now we are back in Paris, and Theo is angry that Adrien rejected the statue. He says that Adrien is a disgrace of a son, and of course he gets targeted by Chrysalis. They talk to each other while Chrysalis is posing in every possible position so that Theo can sculpt her. When it comes to the name, he hesitates briefly with his idea. Chrysalis encourages him to speak it out, and he calls himself Mister Agreste. The audacity. How can someone do that? That is just crazy. Adrien transforms and fights against Mister Agreste, while at the same time he is being terrorized by him. Because not only does he look exactly like Gabriel, tall and gray, but still, he also sounds exactly the same and says sentences that, although they sound like those of an akumatized villain, could just as well have come straight from Gabriel himself. That sums up pretty well what kind of person Gabriel really was. Cat calls Ladybug, but is buried under a pile of rubble and cannot move anymore. Mr. Agreste takes Cat Noir's ring and actually manages to defeat Cat Noir. Adrien disappears just in time before his identity is revealed and Ladybug appears. She calls several Lucky Charms, but she also gets captured and the Lucky Charm megaphone falls on the ground. Adrien distracts Mr. Agreste by confronting his father with everything he has done. Ladybug then has the saving idea that Adrien should say it all through the megaphone. So he does exactly that. And in this way he manages to make Mister Agreste crumble with the truth about Gabriel, because Theo is so shocked about these accusations that literally his picture of Gabriel falls apart. I find that a very, very cool metaphor. Honestly, really well done. Ladybug catches the Akuma, repairs everything, and tells Plag to return the Miraculous to Cat. She writes a message with Adrien and withdraws. The scene changes to the evening. Ladybug and Cat Noir have met, and Cat says that he was not really on top of things today. Ladybug answers that that is exactly why they can support each other. The two of them hug and split up. A very, very beautiful moment. Adrien accepts that he will never get answers, and that it will forever remain a secret what Ladybug is hiding from him. And Marinette accepts that she has to maintain the lie and withstand the pressure. That is how the episode ends with this really cool end screen. But of course, there is still one more scene. We are back in Brazil and see Irupe in her room. She is talking to a Kwame. This Kwame has probably never been seen before, I think, but it is definitely a Kwame. And she says that Luca does not suspect anything, that he believes she is his girlfriend. The Kwame says she should not feel guilty because Luca is going to be very helpful in the great battle that is to come. This means we now know that Irupe is absolutely not just a random character, but she will become very, very important. I am so curious what role she will play and what exactly she is planning with this Kwame. Will she become a new hero, a new villain, or something completely different? The episode leaves us totally in the dark about it, but it makes me really hyped for what is going to happen next. So, that was the entire episode. And wow, what a ride that was. Honestly, for me personally, it is without a doubt one of the best and also most exciting episodes of the whole series so far. We got so many emotional moments, shocking revelations, and especially this confrontation between Adrien and Mister Agreste was incredibly intense. In addition, we had Marinette's inner conflict, Luca's involvement, and this big mystery surrounding Irupe. That combination just made the episode really outstanding. The animation was top-notch, the pacing was very good, and the music also fit perfectly. Of course, there are still many open questions. What exactly did Luca want to do with the second chance? What is Irupe planning with this strange Kwame? And how long will Marinette be able to keep the secret from Adrien before something inevitably comes out? I am really curious to see how all of that will develop. But for now, I can say this episode was really one of the highlights of the season, and I can only recommend that you watch it again if you have the chance.